Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I'm Shekhar Gupta, standing in the outside corridors of an office which I would call the cashier to the country. And my guest today, Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson of State Bank of India. You are the cashier to the country, not this building, not the bank.
Well, that's a very big appellation. But yes, we do handle around 16 to 17% of the business solo for the bank, and about 22 to 23% of the business if you take the entire group.
So, was your journey smooth right through? I believe that there was a point at which you thought of dumping it.
Well, it was not very smooth, but nor was it very rocky. The only thing is, as you know, in the bank, it's a pan-India service. So they transfer you to all kinds of places, and then the family weighs in, and you start wondering whether you're doing the right thing for the family by sort of, taking them all across. So there was a time when I got transferred from Calcutta to Lucknow, and I was made in charge of Eastern UP, which is not and still is not all that well developed. So I had a lot of concerns as to whether I'd get the right schooling for my daughter and how would I manage, because my husband could come along, I'd have to stay on my own. So there was a moment when I did think that I should leave. So I called one of my ex-bosses, who also retired as chairman incidentally, and he counseled me that this was not the right time to leave. It was Mr MS Verma.
Right.
Mr MS Verma was my CGM in Bengal, so he knew me quite well.
I saw his name on the board in your
Yes, that's
office,
right.
yeah.
So he really sort of, he was also chairman TRI,
Right.
subsequent to his retirement. So he sort of put some reason into my head, and he said that, it is the problem with women is they don't dare. And I remembered that to this date. And he said that, leaving is a matter of a minute, but there is no harm in trying. You try, if it doesn't work out, you can always leave, but never leave without trying first.
Right.
So I think I did that, and the result is I'm still here.
All of us are the gainers for it. Although I must say, Lucknow walas will have strong objections to being described as all kinds of places.
No, that's true.
Lucknow has great education.
Actually speaking, I was very pleasantly surprised
Right.
when I went there. I got an excellent school, and that shows you, the kind of prejudices we have, which stems out of ignorance.
Lucknow is everything, including a Bengali community.
That's right. So as I said, we are ignorant, and those ignorances give rise to prejudices which are patently untrue. And when you actually go and find out over there, you're pleasantly surprised that it's very different. And in fact, Lucknow was one of my very successful stints. I really enjoyed myself. I moved a lot. And unlike what is said about UP, I have moved on UP roads at 2 in the night, and thankfully never had a problem. So I used to do customer meets in dinners in Kanpur. They would go on till 11:30, and then I'd get into the car and come. So very often I have travelled very late, even from, I was also covering Gorakhpur. So as far as the Nepal border.
That's tough.
Yeah, but then I have still moved on those roads very late in the night.
That's mafia land. It truly is.
But means, thanks to God, I never had any issues there.
So you faced problems. Not on the roads of UP at night.
That's right.
when you came into this office, because that's when economic downturn sort of started.
That's right.
And some loans started going bad. And if I may say so, Arundhati, it's because you handled them with such strength that we now call you a tigress.
Thank you.
So describe that situation to us.
See, the thing is like this, we have to understand that in 2008-9 and then 10-11 as well, India actually did very well.
Right.
The GDP went up to 8.5. And the reason for this was because the banks were...
8.5 on the old formula.
Yes, on the old formula, which probably in the new formula would be even
11,
bigger.
11,
Yeah.
yes.
And the fact of the reason for this growth was basically the public sector banks lending to infrastructure and core industry. We have to understand, if you are developing a nation, you have to have infrastructure and you have to have core industry. All of this is very capital intensive. Now, there is no other lender in this country other than the public sector banks. We control about 70% of the lending activities. The markets are not deep, so you cannot approach them for bonds. And there are no AFIs as were there earlier, the FIIs, that is the financial institutions for long term.
ICICI, IDBI, they all became banks.
Exactly. So it was up to the public sector banks to support this effort which we did, and I think we did it very well.
So how bad is the NPA problem in the system now? And can the system afford to take a Ganga Snan at this point?
See, a Ganga Snan is very difficult. Ganga Snan is difficult because situations keep changing. When we started with this NPA issue, the steel sector was not stressed.
Right.
Okay. Now, subsequently, the steel sector got stressed because of the huge dumping by China. Okay. So then this got added. Now, once the MIP has come in, hopefully the steel sector over the next 2 quarters will start getting distressed. It is already getting distressed. Hopefully it will happen over the next 2 quarters. But then what has come in now, that the upstream oil people are seeing stress because of the fall in oil prices. So, you know, this is not something that is a one-time affair. In any business, there is a risk. And business risk will continue to occur no matter what we do. But those risks will have to, normally they don't come in a lot like this one. Normally it happens slowly, normally it happens in one sector and not in the other. In this case what happened is that it all came together. So probably yes, we can take a Ganga Snan in as much as we don't expect to come out 100% clean, but clean to some extent.
Well, I mean today's Ganga in any case you can't come out much cleaner. But as Dr. Raghuram Rajan said, in fact on Walk the Talk, that first you accept the problem.
See, one thing which I believe...
And then you can deal with it.
One thing which I believe is, before you accept this problem, or even as you accept this problem, there is no question of not accepting the problem. But you know, you can't go to a war without weapons.
Right.
This is like sending us to war without weapons. And why I say this is, even though there is surfacing, even though there is DRT, it's a fact that it takes a long time for us to get resolution. A huge amount of time to get resolution. Not only time, the amount of effort that is required is humongous.
And the fat borrowers have access to
absolutely
enormous legal talent.
Absolutely. See, in respect of one of these recent cases that is very much in the limelight.
Mr Mallya, I'll say yes.
So, but the fact is, I do not discuss accounts. But here, you know, because there is so much of public attention, probably it is not known that in this matter, we have been fighting in the DRT from 2013.
DRT is
Debt Recovery Tribunal. From 2013. In respect of this particular account.
It's quasi-judicial, is it?
No, it is quasi-judicial, but it is judicial. It is judicial. It has the weight of the law behind it. There is an act.
Yes.
Okay. So the fact of the matter is that we have done 81 such hearings there.
At DRT?
Yes. Not only that, in respect of the various cases which have been filed by him, and we have filed counterclaims and things like that. There are 22 cases we are fighting here. And overall, there have been 508 hearings. The number of adjournments given is more than 180. The number of adjournments
that's a record.
Yeah, it's been, the adjournments given is more than 180. Even in respect of one particular villa, which we were trying to get possession of.
That's the Goa villa.
The Goa villa. We have been trying to get possession of it. And in spite of the fact that the High Court had passed an order saying that it should be done in 3 months, the order was given to the collector. The collector in turn held 8 hearings and then went on leave. So we couldn't get the order in spite of that.
This is the Goa government's collector,
yes.
the IAS officer,
yes.
or equivalent.
Yes. Yes. And normally collectors are supposed to take possession and give to us, not have hearings.
Right.
But this person had 8 hearings.
And then went on leave.
Yes. And we are still not in possession of it, though we are trying very, very hard. Even in respect of this recent matter, it is we who approached the AG and said that we need to really take it up to the highest court. And we were said...
Advocate General.
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes. Attorney General. And we were said that we can't go directly to the highest court, we have to go through DRT. So the very next day we moved DRT. DRT didn't give any relief. The next day we went to High Court. High Court remitted it back to DRT. DRT gave its order but gave no relief because our relief was only one. We needed his assets under oath.
Right.
That's what we've been asking.
Please explain, Arundhati, you are a banker. What does assets under oath mean?
Means what does he own? What does he own? He should declare under oath because he's given a personal guarantee.
Yes, that is the key thing because, you know, one argument that I see, that I hear often is that make a distinction between limited liability of a corporate and his personal liability.
I agree.
So he's only exposed to his limited liability.
See, limited liability was created so that people could do big things.
Right.
When you are having a industry that needs hundreds and thousands of crores, you cannot give personal guarantee.
Right.
Okay, it's a very big risk. And unless we create a risk-taking environment, there will be no business, no economy, no development.
And lending is a risky business.
Absolutely. Lending is a risky business. Even taking a borrowing is a risky business.
Even
taking
more
a
so.
loan,
As
it's a very risky
all my
business.
Marwadi friends tell me, वो loan में problem ये है कि दिन में आप काम करते हैं तो interest meter runs. At night when you are sleeping also it's running.
I agree with you. It is a very risky business. And therefore, we have to understand that business failures occur. And business failure is nothing criminal. There is no criminalization of it. Actually, the governor, because he has a US background, he keeps telling us what is the stigma of an NPA. But he doesn't probably appreciate that in India, any failure is seen as a criminal act.
And also in India, middle class, lower middle class, they tend to be very compliant with loans, with borrowing.
So therefore, what has happened is that we would say rather that, it is a very risky business. But when does one go after the person?
Right.
It is only when a personal guarantee is given. And when do we ask for a personal guarantee? We normally ask for a personal guarantee if a business has got into trouble and still the promoter wants us to advance money. At that point, the bank says, if I am going to risk something, you have to risk your skin in the game.
Yes.
So that is when the personal guarantee is given.
Which Mr Mallya did.
Yes, because as you know, there was trouble in the account.
Right.
The account was already stressed. So he wanted a further opportunity to try and turn it around. We felt that it was right for him to get that opportunity to turn it around. But just as we risked money, we also asked that he put his skin in the game, which he gave in
because
the form of a personal
there was
guarantee.
insufficient juice in the
That's
business
right.
he was running.
That's right. So that is the reason why, we have gone to him for recovery directly, and not only to the assets of KFA. Because a guarantee was given by him, a guarantee
Personally.
was given by the holding company UBHL. So all three we are going to go against for recovery. So that's the reason behind it. And
So he cannot say that this is my personal assets, what have they got to do with my companies?
no.
He's
no.
given personal guarantees,
That's
I think. So what happened? Going back to the story, then you went to AG.
Yeah.
AG said go back to DRT.
Yes,
So he went back to DRT.
that's right.
Then
We went to DRT. DRT didn't give any relief, so next day we went to High Court. High Court remitted it back to DRT.
back to DRT.
Yeah.
Right.
So then DRT gave its order, which still didn't give us the relief we were asking for, which is his assets on the road.
That
So we
he should come and under oath say that these are my assets because I gave a personal guarantee.
That's right.